He's that guy.
Indeed.
This beat's like a modern day Zen. It just kind of puts you in the mood. Gets your fears shaken off from the day. You let yourself just sit back and enjoy yourself and maybe talk a little football.
And get these jokes off. By like a lot. Okay. What's up, everybody? It's Touchdowns and Tangents. We got myself, Kenneth Berry, and Eric in the building. Izzy is a senior in her final semester going through finals, so we're going to pray for her and wish for her to have her best life because finals sucks, and it's an insanely, unnecessarily tense point of the year. And I feel like in other educational systems, they don't put this much stress on final exams, but whatever. I just don't think that's the way you should teach it.
But, I mean, that's all I know final exams are is just stress. Just not enough time and stress.
And potentially horrible coping mechanisms like not sleeping.
And then afterwards, in a copious amount of alcohol.
Yeah, and cramming.
Cramming. Oh, man, I don't miss those long nights.
I don't miss getting alcohol poisoning at a party and then eating Papa John's and then getting even sicker while studying and then going back to drink. That was
puke and rally. You know, it's funny. I was watching Varsity Blues late last night coming home from work. It's just like, you know, I look at this. I'm like, I'm from New Mexico, not that small of a town, but like those small. But I knew Cowboys and stuff like that, and then like people that are like high school football's life, and yeah, man, they party like that. And just, my God,
it's wonderful. And you know, in life, we all have our vices, and we all have our rallying cries, and we all have our coping mechanisms. And in our case, we have our affiliates who hold us down from different states and different places from all over. So shout out to X Squad affiliates. Shout out to Full Press Coverage, T-Biggs, the whole gang, Ray, everybody. So with that, we are on the Good News Radio app. That is free. That you should have already downloaded by now. I mean, like, Keith works tooth and nail, building studios with his bare hands, out here running 12 miles at a time, becoming Mr. Everything Man out here, and giving you a free app with literally an entire ecosystem of just news and entertainment and just all types of amazingness. Individual creators, people with lives who've been through shit, going through shit, have probably a gang of like life advice we could give you, but instead we stick to our lane and we tell our stories. In this case, on Touchdowns and Tangents, we obviously give you culturally concise commentary, you know, some topical tangents. You know, also being serious and then being, you know, I'd say this is a pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Transparent program.
We don't hold back.
We don't. In fact, we should probably hold back a little bit, like when you hit your younger sibling too hard and try to get them to stop from crying. We should probably do that sometime.
But the thing is like the reverse psychology. There's like you hit them to stop crying, but then they cry more, and it's like, I don't know. And then you get in trouble. You're the older brother, right?
I'm the middle child.
You're the middle. Oh my God!
So I hate everybody.
You're the problem of everybody's life right now, right?
Wow! What?
You're the middle child. You get no love and you get no attention. So like, yeah, just
constantly having to prove myself around people who I'm far more superior than. Damn.
Well, I'm in a new community. So, like, I grew up being the little brother, and then my parents divorced when I was a freshman. My brother shipped off to college, and then I inherited 3 little sisters and 2 stepbrothers, like through marriages, and it's like Fuck that shit, dude. I did
So
not like being
Dewey
old.
or Malcolm?
Oh, dude, I was.
Because you're not Reese.
No, not Reese.
And you're not Francis.
Well, I had step brothers and sisters, so they were kind of like part time. Like they weren't always there.
But still, that's a Malcolm in the middle kind of situation.
Yeah.
So you're like
Malcolm.
You're Malcolm because you can't be Dewey. You're not.
No.
Are you the youngest?
I only have one blood brother. I'm the youngest of him, and then all those other sisters and brothers were all younger than me. There was like,
yeah, you're Malcolm.
5 of them. Yeah,
because you lord over them, so you're Malcolm.
Giving rides to little brothers and sisters to school and shit. Fuck that. Thaddeus, thank you for being my bigger brother growing up. I appreciate those rides. Peace.
Damn, it could be a Friday Night Lights situation where you're Tim Riggins.
Maybe. Make it our own style. 2021 version.
What would be
with Crocs?
Damn, that's true. You can't wear Crocs.
You can't wear Crocs. Crocs
In
didn't
Texas
happen
like
back
that.
then. The closest thing they had there was like the Air Moses and stuff. You know, like just the strap-ins.
Jesus.
Strap-in sandals. You know, that's all you got. You didn't have Crocs. You can just slip in and slip out.
The thong sandals.
Thong sandals is different.
Thong sandals really need to be outlawed. That's
so
too
convenient.
much. That's too much sweat and toe meat. That's an issue for me.
I don't know, man. I wore thong sandals all through college. Well, most of college.
And you couldn't run off like if some shit popped off. You can't just.
No, I did break a pair of sandals running though. I do admit that.
You will break the sandal, then you will break your foot and ankle.
Right. So don't buy expensive sandals. By the way, they just break. Eventually, they break.
Buy Crocs.
I still will not wear Crocs.
They're so comfortable,
they
dude.
just creep me out.
That's me. Look, it's me saying this. No one talks more shit about something I don't want to do until I do it than me. So now that I'm doing it, I'm just letting you know.
I feel like I'll be like you, and it opens Pandora's box, and like the only thing you could ever wear are Crocs.
Oh hell no! I only wear these on my days off, and I wear them at work all the time.
That's every day.
But
Your
I don't
days
wear them.
off and your days at work. That sounds like 7 days a week right there. That's every day. So that in confidence means Crocs 7 days a week.
I don't wear Crocs to the gym, but I haven't gone to the gym in 2 weeks.
You know, if I see you making some Velcro straps for those Crocs, that means you went to the gym with them.
If I wear an
that
ankle
means 24/7, 7 days a week.
If my Crocs have a pulley system to hold up my Achilles tendon, does that mean I went too far?
Possibly.
Yeah, you can't work out in Crocs though. That shit's gross. Like the only way it's cool to wear Crocs is like if you're an athlete and you just came from a workout, like you pulled up to practice, knowing you're just here to work out and you're gonna wear Crocs.
If you're not wearing socks though, do like your feet slide around in there? Do you feel like
I would never do that? I would never. I don't wear my slides without socks.
Oh really?
I feel like if I'm gonna wear slides, I'm wearing socks. I'm not a child anymore. I'm a grown adult. I have shit to do. If I have to quickly like swap some shoes on, like I gotta run in the house, wash my feet, then put on socks, then put on shoes. No, I'm gonna just have my socks on the whole day, and then if I gotta run in the house and something happens, I can just take the slides off and put the shoes on. You got to be ready to go if some shit happens.
So I feel like this is inevitably going to end up in that you just wear like socks with thong sandals like a Ninja Turtle or something.
No, I outlawed. As a kid, I went straight up into wearing like all my grandfather stuff or trying to. So I was wearing just big ass, just like barbecue grill kingpin sandals.
Oh my God. I can only imagine if I tried to wear my grandpa's stuff. My grandpa's stuff would have been like cowboy boots.
It's like this is the coolest shit ever, but as a man, I haven't earned the right to wear this yet. I'm in somebody else's boots, and this is funny and a cool picture. And then 20 years later, you're like, yeah, I think I'm going to wear those shoes in like 10, 15 years. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm like, yeah, Crocs are cool right now. I'm at a comfortable stage
where you can wear them 7 days a week.
Yeah, like there's some stability here. Like I'm 29. Like Pete said, you're 29 is just an open casket for your 20s. That might be the title this week, honestly. That was so good, but I was like, he was crying at his own draft birthday party, so I had to go with that title. Mm-hmm. Usually I just know the title. It'll hit me at some point in the week.
Was he crying about the draft or about what you guys drafted in the draft?
Mostly he's a tar, so he cries. And yeah, like you said, like Pete said, on his birthday, that's the only day he's really allowed to be happy.
Well, speaking
or so they say.
Well, happy belated birthday to Pete. I hope he enjoyed it and had a nice relieving drink and some cake. I saw the cake go home with him. I was jealous.
So much goddamn cake, bro.
Yeah, man.
And then the cake that I got, it kind of started smelling weird.
The fuck kind of cake you get buying?
It was like a strawberry shortcake.
Was it like out of date? Did you get it on the special side?
Nah.
Did it have the 99-cent sticker on it?
Hell no.
Manager special?
No. It was like a nice little like $35 cake.
Oh shit.
From like Carlos's bakery on like 3rd Street Promenade. No, it was fire. The cake was fire, but had we eaten it on the spot like earlier when I bought it, it would have been good because it sat out for a certain amount of time and like certain ingredients in the cake you can't have it sit out because it should have started smelling. And then people was like, "Yeah, the cake went bad." I was like, "That cake didn't go bad. All you got to do is just put that shit in the freezer."
You know, I'll be honest. You say Promenade, man. Like, I am guilty of doing Cheesecake Factory at the Promenade every time I go there. It has to be Cheesecake Factory with it.
I've only been to the Cheesecake Factory as a child, and I don't remember. I had some rum cake and threw the fuck up. That's what I remember.
Cheesecake's nothing special. It's like a bunch of like oversized. I remember Cheesecake Factory just being like...
The buffet one?
No, God.
Isn't there a buffet of cheesecakes? Because that's what I...
No, they have like a bunch of different cheesecakes. I want to say buffet, but they have a variety.
I tried like 10 of them.
Yeah, they have a variety. They have a menu of cheesecakes.
No, it wasn't like, oh, I had to pay like that particular one. Like, oh, you already paid to get in. Oh. You paid for everything to get in.
Just samplers of
But then if you get something off the menu, that's one thing. Oh. But like the cheesecake is like it's a buffet, fam. It was a weird set. It was way back in the 90s.
Buffet cheesecake, man. That sounds good.
It was like I think it was in Oakland when we went. That's why I'm like it's such a haze that like my mom doesn't really remember it. And I was like, Mom, I had some fucking rum cheesecake and it was green and I threw up. She's like, maybe. I was like, no, I did. But anyway.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we do talk some football in this radio podcast and whatever you guys are fucking with us. So,
and some of y'all teams did probably want to make you puke after you saw that draft. The Raiders, it just kind of...
Who else had a real poopy kind of draft there? I mean, there's some good drafts. I mean, like kind of looking at some of these articles and stuff, there's teams that did solid, but like they're all at the same time. Are they just being biased because there's more offensive players taken in the higher rounds than defensive players? Was it just, it looked flashy and like, I don't know. I mean, you have 5 quarterbacks in the first round. That's always deserves 3 in the first 3 picks. One being a trade up. It's like this is this gets blood going in fans,
Yeah, I think with most teams, if they did well, it's because they got steals and guys who fell down to them. Like the Chiefs, their first 4 picks did pretty great. The Chargers did really great with their first couple picks, I would say. Like a great draft from start to finish. The Ravens hit on positions of need, and if they work out, like getting like Jason Owe at the end of the first round, where he's 6'5", 250 / 260, and he ran a 4.36 40. If that works out, and he's rushing the passer, that's kind of a neutralizer for a guy like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. I mean, I actually really like the Chiefs offseason. It's scary though. I mean, like just to go that crazy with getting the line. I mean, obviously that was what if they could block for another second for Mahomes. I mean, the Super Bowl would be a different story. They had injuries at the end and everything too, but like they addressed it, and on a team that's already stacked.
Yeah, and
at the same time, they did drop a lot of passes in the Super Bowl. I hate to say it, but they made those catches in the regular season, and they just didn't happen in the Super Bowl. So,
I will give you that one. I just think in regards to, I think it's easier to start with the losers. So we'll just start with the losers. And We're going to start with the losers that we all know and love on this podcast.
Like your Raiders?
I mean, no need to get spicy.
I'm poking the bear. Poking the bear. Just, people need to be entertained tonight. Poking the bear.
It's more like you did a prank that football players used to do to people when they fell asleep first. I don't need to say said prank. As a former athlete, former football player, I think you know what prank I'm talking about when you fall asleep first.
Our next Instagram tag is going to be the scene from Full Metal Jacket where they just start pelting him with the sock and the soap in the sock and just
fragging the shit out of him.
Yeah, fragging
that's
the shit
one
out
of them. That is definitely one of them.
Oh, that's just brutal.
I wasn't gonna go the Penn State route where you're like
don't do
heads.
that. Penn State. That's
rape at that point.
That's exactly what it is. It's rape.
That's rape. You can't put your dick on people's
Penn
foreheads.
State. I remember in junior high I was wearing Penn State jerseys and stuff just because fucking they were cool.
The fabric touch you a certain way?
Yeah, it's weird because like you had like the Michigan jerseys were sick. The Penn State was sick. The classic ones. And it's like. I remember those were the ones. The North Carolina ones were always cool ones to wear. Their teams weren't great, but North Carolina jerseys were awesome. Tar Heels.
Air Jordan.
Yeah.
But if I had to, I think about it and I say, okay. And I have a piece coming out on the Raiders' last 15 years of draft picks and how literally it's just an epic cycle of insanity. Literally just doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It's kind of horrifying to think about how they just keep... they drafted 3 safeties, but they signed 2 safeties. And they already had a safety in Jonathan Abrams. So...
Maybe they don't like him very much, man. He's kind of... how do you feel about Jonathan Abrams? Do you think he's worth keeping around, or... Would you say replace him with one of these 18 safeties that they just got?
I just think you don't go into a draft where you have holes all over your team. And like Shi Smith out of South Carolina, I thought he was great at the Senior Bowl, ran an insanely fast 40. And I think they need another wide receiver because it's just not working with Carr.
No.
And
he has the talent to do so. He I don't know, man. Do you think it's Gruden?
It's Gruden. It's that offense. And because I had somebody in the barbershop talk to me about this when I got my haircut this week. And they're like, his numbers went up Carr was having a career year before Gruden got there. I'm like, yeah, when Gruden got there, his completion percentage is higher than it's ever been. And yeah, he's putting up great numbers, but Gruden has had to force him to take shots at times.
So you say he's playing a little too conservative throughout the years?
Too conservative, and if you throw it away on 4th down, 4th and goal, when you needed a touchdown, that tells me about your mental buildup. That's not a faux pas. That's not oh shit, I'm sorry, I forgot. Franchise players don't do that.
No.
There's a difference between Chris Webber and Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's not calling a timeout and losing the game for his team in the national championship. That's just not happening.
No.
Chris Webber's a Hall of Fame player, basketball player from start to finish on what he's done, but
not in the big game.
Reason why the Sacramento Kings never won anything. Not because there was a conspiracy against the Kings. No.
They are in Sacramento. That sucks all on its own.
Because they're like, how are they up 3-0 or whatever, 3-1 on the Lakers in that series? And then they blow all 4 games. Did you watch or they blow all 3 games? I was like, did you watch the 3 games? That's how they blew them. They're like, oh, they got calls. No, they blew it. They blew it. And Robert Horry hit a miracle shot. Because that shot doesn't go in, it's over. But, yeah. So the Raiders, I think by far the worst draft because I don't see how they got better at any position at all. They're the one team that they didn't get better with anybody they drafted. Okay, they got the safety out of TCU.
Yeah, but it's like you said, he's signed to safeties.
Okay, fine. He's a starting safety. Carl Joseph was your former first-round pick, a mid-first-round pick, like the 15th overall first-round pick. That's usually someone who's supposed to be a starter. It'd be one thing if it was the back half, like the 29th pick. Okay, I'll let you get away with that. No, he was like a high draft pick for you, a mid to high draft pick, and now he's back, and he's going to be a backup because he's not starting over Abrams, who you thought was going to be, for some reason, a great pick. Like you never take a strong safety in the first round. I'm sorry. That's just me. I'm never taking a strong safety in the first round. Isaiah Simmons is really a linebacker who you want him to live and play like a safety, but he can still hit and run and do things like a linebacker straight up. But that's a linebacker who's really utilized like a safety. The way Tyrann Mathieu is really a corner who's utilized as a safety. He's that dynamic, and if he was like 6'2", he'd be an outside corner. And that would be the issue. That would be it. You wouldn't put him anywhere else. You would have him at corner if he was 6 feet tall. But he's like 5'8", 5'9". So there you go. But you can just look. Their first round pick is a project. Their second round pick might help solidify things, but the DBs are like the weakest link on this team until further notice. And you also, drafted 3 safeties. Gillespie out of Missouri, 34 career games, 0 interceptions. Why would I draft a DB who couldn't get a pick in college?
No, yeah. I mean, what round was this again?
Gillespie, I think, was a 4th round pick.
4th round pick. I mean, the Davis have a history of this, man. But this season just seems like a little more out of whack. It's like Grandpa definitely has dementia at this point. There's no hiding back. Like, who the hell's making these picks for you guys? It's like at this point, it's like, these drafts, can make people and break you. I mean, you go from real bad, like you put it with the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns were the laughing stock of the NFL for the better part of a decade, if not more. And now they have piled in first-round picks and high draft picks and brought in some talent, and they could be arguably one of the favorites in the AFC this year to actually even compete against Kansas City. And they got a lot of talent. Now you got Jadeveon Clowney on a discount this year with Myles Garrett alone. That's going to be... And they had a really good draft as well. They drafted some holes, and Odell Beckham. What do you expect from Odell Beckham Jr. this year as a Brown?
He's sacrificing career numbers to play in Cleveland because Baker Mayfield doesn't know how to get the ball to a number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
Like, he had success with Eli, and Baker's better than Eli as far as arm talent goes. But you're telling me you can't get him the ball. But you can find Jarvis Landry, you can find Higgins, you can find the tight ends, you can constantly find Kareem Hunt. But the dude who was an all-pro and arguably top 5 at his position still, even through injury, like, it's ridiculous. Like, if I put Odell on the Packers, I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers and him would do ridiculous things.
Yeah.
So it's like, if a dude was putting up Hall of Fame numbers, and yeah, he had injuries, and his team was trash, like, it comes to a point where it's like, man, they can't keep blaming Odell. It's like blaming Melo, saying he's the problem on every team he's on when he's a Hall of Fame player and an elite scorer.
Yeah.
Like,
no, Melo's just flowing now. I think he just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, and he's like, you only see me in a certain light. That'll never change. There's nothing I can do to change that because I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't. And I just hope that Odell's career goes a little better. I would just love to see Odell in Oakland because I think somebody would get him the ball. But then again, if you're a crappy team, you have crappy leadership, it's not going to work, sadly. But
going back to our friend Aaron Rodgers right now with his controversy and headline news making, apparently Adam Schefter admits to Schefter, sorry, who admits to strategically dropping the Aaron Rodgers story on draft day because he had new info to add. I mean, what's going on with this?
No new info to add, and it's really sloppy journalism to create a headline by releasing information that is currently known but unsubstantiated because nobody's going to come out and confirm it. It's kind of unethical to do that.
He did,
but it's not wrong in a sense. And he drove up ratings for the NFL draft.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. He also he's been doing this kind of this off season, especially I'm the Bears fan here, and he was doing this stuff because it was all quarterbacks for us this whole off season, and he's like, that I would be surprised if there is a trade by tonight. So I'm, being the Bears fan I am, and this guy always has the breaking news. I'm just like, who's going to make the trade? Because we're in the hunt for Russell Wilson. Saying that got close, and then also Deshaun Watson.
I'd say Fields is a better prospect than Russell Wilson was coming out.
I'm perfectly happy with Fields
by far.
And we got him on the rookie discount right now. So.
And 4.55 is a great 40, but a 4.41 is elite.
Yeah,
anything under a 4.45 is considered elite.
Just got to use them right. Now you just got to use them right.
I think he would actually work in that offense because he can improvise. And he'll actually make the right reads. You just have to get the lineup around him and let him be a weapon against the defense instead of trying to have him play it safe.
Yeah.
But a lot of these young QBs who are dynamic athletes and have talent, you can't play it conservative. That's not their style of play. You can play conservative with Mac Jones because he's a pocket passer. There's nothing really elite about him. I mean, if you're throwing to a bunch of first-round picks, of course you're going to look great. Mm. I wouldn't. I mean, 15 I think is as high as he should have went because the Patriots needed a QB, and he's the perfect pick.
It's the mold for the Patriots. There's some tall white guy.
Or it's just he doesn't have elite arm strength. There's nothing special about him. He's just going to run the offense.
It's all in the head. I mean,
that's an old school mentality that is dying.
I mean, the only one person that's really doing that right now is Tom Brady.
Yeah.
But that's what they want is Tom Brady.
Because, I mean, if you put, let's say you put Aaron Rodgers on the Packers. Yeah, he's a pocket QB, but he's more of he can improvise and make throws that you would never coach.
Yeah.
And he developed his game. He's if Zach Wilson can unearth all his potential and be everything he can be, he would be similar to an Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
If Fields can exhaust all his ability, he would be like nothing we've never seen before. It would be let's say, a cross between Randall Cunningham and I'm going to say Warren Moon.
Jeez.
Because he can throw it all. He can throw wherever you want to. Fields can. He can throw whatever you want. He's tough. And then you throw in the fact that he runs a 4.41, so it's a track meet. Robert Griffin III ran a 4.4 flat, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but he didn't get very far.
His rookie year, though, he was breaking off 80-yard touchdown runs.
As well as parts of his limbs and body.
I mean, Haloti Ngata was it's probably still 350 of muscle. Just muscle. Muscle and just Polynesian spirit.
I wonder what happened with RG3 if he didn't injure his knee again. I mean,
had they actually took care of him?
Yeah,
I think the Redskins would have took that division over.
Yeah,
and not look back.
Speaking of Redskins, I think Aaron Rodgers would be a good Redskin or Washington
WTF?
Football. WTF.
But Snyder's an idiot. And how much are you going to give up to get him? Who are you going to trade?
Yeah, no. They just need. That's all that team really needs is a quarterback.
I mean, I think it will work, but Ron Rivera has to know that Aaron Rodgers calls the shots because you ain't an offensive coach, bro.
Yeah. Ryan Fitzpatrick could beat that division. I think he could do that.
Sadly, he could.
I mean, they did it last year with 7 wins, 8 wins.
He could. That's the crazy part. Because they got
and their third string quarterback almost beat Tom Brady. The team that should have been in there. I mean, the only team that didn't deserve to be in there more was maybe us because we squeaked in there on that new 7th place in the playoff spots.
It's funny though when we think about that and like the whole playoffs and all that, because had Dallas lost to the Eagles, then the Eagles wouldn't have got that extra first round pick. So them beating the Eagles, and then ended up trading with them in the draft. They'd been better off just losing to the Eagles, so the Eagles would have had a worse draft spot, and the Cowboys would have had more draft leverage.
Yeah.
Because everybody's saying the Cowboys had a bad draft, and I'm like, They got best available in guys that they hope might fill some depth. If you look at offense, it wasn't really that broken. The offensive line isn't really that broken. I mean, you got Collins at right tackle. I think you got Connor Williams at guard. Like, they just have to keep guys in place and keep them healthy. But for the most part, I mean, I don't think anybody... I'm going to go in order. I mean, I like the top 5 that they have, but I think the Raiders had the worst draft by far. Because outside of their second-round pick, I don't see where anybody else even makes the roster past Tyree Gillespie. Illinois corner Nate Hobbs. That was a throwaway pick. Pittsburgh center Jimmy Morrissey. So you drafted a guy who might be your second center. He'll be a backup at best. When there was other players on the board. Malcolm Kuntz, the linebacker. I don't know what the hell that was. There were better players on the board. But that's what they want to do. I guess he's supposed to be some type of edge rusher or whatever. Makes no sense to me. Virginia Tech safety Divine Diablo. This is like honestly the only pick I like. Because he's like runs a 4.42. He's bigger than Cam Chancellor. Freakishly strong. And they're going to use him as a will linebacker. He'll actually be what Tanner Muse was supposed to be coming out of Clemson. Even though Tanner Muse ran a 4.41 and, you know, was supposed to be this fantastic thing. But honestly, he doesn't really have the agility to play outside. He was hurt this whole year. Honestly, I would just make Tanner Muse my middle linebacker for the future. Because I don't really see much else out of him. I don't think he's in the... If you're gonna have if you're drafting Diablo to play the role that Muse is supposed to play, either you're gonna have one of the fastest linebacking cores in the league, or you're gonna put it all on Corey Littleton again. And we saw how that worked out. It didn't work out at all. So the Raiders, from where I see, have 2 guys who might be starters. Their left tackle, Leatherwood. He might be a starter at guard or tackle, depending on what happens. And the safety, Trevon Moehrig. Outside of that, you can keep Diablo, and you can probably throw the rest of his draft in the trash. And they passed on guys. They passed on really good guys. They traded up to get Moehrig, the safety. So, I can't fault them for that. But they could have traded down for the Leatherwood pick at 17. The Cowboys, people are saying they had a horrible draft. They got Micah Parsons, generational talent at linebacker, arguably. Kelvin Joseph, the Kentucky corner. There are other corners on the board, but, it is what it is. They got UCLA D tackle. Edge rusher. They got a corner out of Nashawn Wright, who was in the Last Chance U Laney College season. So he went to Laney College, and his younger brother Rayshawn was on the last season of Last Chance U for football, JUCO football. That is. As we look to the future, fam. Yeah, you okay, Eric?
I'm sorry.
Wow. Oh man! Hey!
Don't catch slipping.
Hey!
It feels good to be using the soundboard again.
Thanks for bestowing that on me the last couple of weeks.
Hey. Everybody has a bad stretch. It's okay. I'm not gonna treat you like I won't treat you like I'm a
One of those times is because
host.
you're wearing the same Crocs and sweatshirt that same day.
I mean, maybe you don't want to wear the Bears gear every week. Might be a bad omen.
I'm just doing it a couple weeks in a row.
You got to treat it like fine china.
Fine china.
You can only break it out when it's really special.
I have to get the Fields jersey this year.
You have to get a Fields jersey.
Yeah.
And if you don't, I'm just look at you with just disgust until you do. You can't get an Allen Robinson jersey. I know you want one, but you can't.
I do like Allen Robinson. I do.
Don't get a Jimmy Graham jersey.
No. I'll get Cole Kmet before Jimmy Graham.
Don't get a James Daniels jersey.
No. I mean, that's still a Mac. You know who I'd like is Hicks. Keem Hicks. He's one of my favorite players.
That's fair. Okay, so if you don't get a Justin Fields jersey, you can get a Keem Hicks jersey.
Or Roquan. I like Roquan.
Everybody. You have to like Roquan.
Roquan's
He's actually good.
He's one of our best picks that we've had.
They should probably just switch back to a 4-3, but don't get me started on that.
Who knows? Who knows? I mean, this defense coordinator guy's a Bear bring up, so he's been with the Bears for a while. So hopefully, we'll see what happens.
I think, like, if I look at...
You got to let Mac Attack get out, though. He needs to have a good year.
True. He needs some help. They got to put somebody next to him. And they had the chance to do it, and they kind of didn't. But
yeah,
that's what it is.
It is.
But you look at the Cowboys, I'm like, they got a couple guys, at least 3 guys, who could instantly upgrade their defense. Got a couple of backup receivers. Like, I look at the Cowboys, I'm like, did they get somebody who completely erases several problems for them? They did. You look at the Seahawks, who, if it wasn't for the Raiders, I think they had the worst draft. By far, it's not even really close. Because they got Dwayne Eskridge out of Western Michigan is pretty much a clone of Tyler Lockett. That doesn't really help. I mean, yeah, I guess they wanted the third receiver for the offense.
Yeah.
But that's not help that he needed. Then they took Oklahoma cornerback Trey Brown. Y'all know how I feel about Oklahoma DBs, especially corners. And the Big 12 doesn't play defense. And then they got Florida offensive tackle Stone Forsythe. Already, I don't trust that name, so... Like, that, they really did... They could have just sat this draft out, the Seattle Seahawks. Actually, honestly, I might give the Seahawks. Actually, you know what? No, because realistically, Eskridge might have a better rookie season than all the Raiders draft picks combined. You look at the Texans, he was a 5-star QB coming out of high school, I think near the top QB in the country. Davis Mills, Michigan wide receiver Nico Collins, Miami tight end Brevin Jordan. They got a lineman and a D tackle from TCU and Arizona, respectively. I think they got better. Nico Collins is a baller. Brevin Jordan can actually become their starting tight end, and Davis Mills is a good insurance policy for whatever happens to Deshaun Watson. If you have Davis Mills, you can at least try to build something to where if shit hits the fan, he could be the guy that he could be either a bridge, he could be like a Ryan Fitzpatrick type hero that you keep around. He could develop into Kirk Cousins. We don't know. But he does have arm talent. He did get coached by a really good coach at Stanford. So there's something there for him. The Texans, they tried, at least, with their picks. Even the Rams. The Rams got Tutu Atwell, Burner. Could learn under the tutelage of Deshaun Jackson and makes the Rams offense actually more explosive.
Houston's just going to be bad for a while is the thing, unfortunately. Yeah. Deshaun, that's not clearing up anytime soon. So they did get a quarterback there. Yeah. What their second pick, their highest pick, is that what their first pick was a quarterback? It was the Mississippi. The Stanford quarterback, right?
Yeah, Davis Mills.
Yeah.
So Houston, that was their highest pick. They got a QB, which was smart.
Yeah,
that he was still, because some people thought he was going to be a first round pick, and I'm like, he's not going to be a first round pick.
That'd be weak.
Pedestrian numbers and a pedestrian offense, he's not. But he has his best football might be ahead of him. But if you look at the Rams, they got Bobby Brown III, D tackle out of Texas A&M. They got the Central Arkansas corner who looked pretty good. And Jacob Harris, who was receiver at UCF but could play tight end. And he's going to play tight end. He's bulked up to around, I think, like 220. So they're probably going to try to bulk him up again, but he ran a 4.39 at 220 pounds.
Oh, yeah. What are you trying to have, DK Metcalf on your...
He's 6'5", 230 practically.
He's like
running a 4.38, and you could put him at tight end.
It's like having Usain Bolt being able to play football at a high level.
It's like if you put Usain Bolt at tight end.
Yeah, and wide receiver, tight end. Yeah,
no, he's definitely gonna play tight end because he has the size at 6'5". Yeah. So I'm like okay, and Tutu Atwell, speedster. They got some defensive help. These guys are mostly going to be backups, and they're going to compete, but it's something. And then everybody else's draft, some people say Arizona had a bad draft. I don't see it that way. Their first three picks are pretty solid. Marco Wilson, the Florida corner, even though he threw a shoe, he still played great. He just made some stupid mistakes. Rondale Moore was a steal, and then they got Zaven Collins. Arizona has a talented roster, so now they don't really have excuses as far as depth because their linebackers are definitely good, and Zaven Collins can be an edge rusher. Rondale Moore, speedster, and can easily come in and play in the slot. Larry Fitzgerald doesn't even really matter in Arizona anymore at this point with how much they have Christian Kirk, they have A.J. Green, they have DeAndre Hopkins. I think Deion Butler, not Deion, I forget the dude's name, but he played at Iowa State, and they made him Hakeem Butler. They made him a tight end. Arizona has more than enough offensive weapons, and then they shored up some defense with Zaven Collins, got a pretty good corner out of Marco Wilson, like. The Raiders are literally the only team who just year after year after year, they just waste the picks. And it's just kind of really sad to see that. It's just, there's no guy on this list that I could say, oh, he's going to be fantastic. He's exactly what they needed. Like, had they just take Dorsall, the Virginia Tech tackle, at 17, I wouldn't even been like, I wouldn't be mad if he ends up being a bust. It's like, well, he was actually supposed to go higher. And for his skill set and what he can do, if you only play him at right tackle, that's still a win. But Leatherwood, he's a question at any position you put him at because he has to get stronger. And, yeah, it's easy to look great and dominant when you have an offensive line full of All-Americans. So... we'll see, man. This is
it's going to be a hard one.
That draft, just bad taste in my mouth. But anyway, I'm going to just get some bad news out the way. Rest in peace to the brother of Sam Ehlinger. His younger brother was a linebacker at Texas, former 2-star recruit. He died. They're still kind of figuring out the circumstances of what happened. and he was, his body was found near campus.
Jeez.
So rest in peace to Jake Ellinger, former Texas linebacker. Sam Ellinger just got drafted 6th round by the Colts. It's supposed to be a happy time, and this happens. It's unfortunate. Also, rest in peace to North Texas football commit Willie Simmons III. He and another young lady were shot, I guess at their high school. And unfortunately, he didn't make it. Also, rest in peace to 2022 defensive end and South Carolina commit Aaron Wilson. He died of brain cancer. They said that he kept his sense of humor throughout. It's really unfortunate that had to happen. He's one of the best players in Maryland, apparently, based off like what everyone says in recruiting cycles and everything. So that's unfortunate. Football. It's even when things are going great, it's still, even when you're training for it, it's always a game of struggle, and somebody's usually playing from a place of pain or something. So that's why, like, when things happen to football players, I try to always stop and say rest in peace, because it's hard out here. Like, it's crazy times, and it's just really unfortunate. So rest in peace to them. And on to some happier news. Frank Ragnow, center for the Detroit Lions, former first-round pick out of Arkansas, got a 4-year, $54 million contract extension from the Lions. He is now the highest-paid center of all time. He got like $42 million guaranteed.
I meant to say that's magical, actually. I didn't even try to fall asleep. No, that's great. I always like hearing that linemen get some big money, especially right there in the middle there. So, good job.
And Dan Campbell's, they're trying to build a tough offensive line with Sewell, Crosby, Tyler Decker. Tyrell Crosby played right tackle. He might bump down the guard now. But Sewell's going to be there at right tackle because Decker's there at left tackle. So, it's they're building a bully in Detroit.
I mean, it's Detroit just feels like it's that one team that, they just haven't done anything, and they're a very old team, are they not? They're one of the original. No, I don't know if they're one of the original NFL teams, but they've had great players like Megatron and Barry Sanders, and then even Matt Stafford, who he's probably going to tear it up here in LA. To be honest, Detroit is just you hope for the best, but I think they're doing it right. Just like start off with that line and then see what happens. One of those things that happens, though, they cut their or waived one of their running backs.
Yeah, Kerryon Johnson. He hasn't been the same since he tore his ACL, and I guess they said he had some legal trouble. But it was unfortunate. He was a promising running back coming out of Auburn, and he had a pretty good first year or so. Then they thought, he's going to be the future because he was coming off a 1,000-yard rushing season, and then gets hurt, and Adrian Peterson came in and stole the show. As old as Adrian Peterson is.
Old man Peterson, man. How long is this guy going to play? Is he? Who's older, him or Frank Gore?
Frank Gore's older.
Not by much, though, right?
Let me check, actually, because I'm pretty sure Frank Gore is
like the mini juggernaut.
Years in. I'm pretty sure he's like, yeah.
Frank Gore,
37. So, let's see.
How many teams has Frank Gore played for now?
Shit, like a good 7.
Is he like the Fitzpatrick to running backs? Or is that Adrian Peterson still?
Nah, AP's different. Like, you're not supposed to be doing what he's doing.
AP really put down like
the
a
miles
new
on his body.
More.
He's 36.
He's 36. But Adrian Peterson kind of has that now standard of like the recovery of the ACL injury, because he came back in less than a year and then just blew up and got MVP. I mean, that was a stellar year that he had with Minnesota. I mean, his career in Minnesota alone was just incredible. I mean, he still has some fuel in the tanks and everything like that. But
you know what's crazy? Frank Gore came out in the 2005 NFL draft.
Oh, really?
Adrian Peterson came out 2004.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, these guys are still going at it.
Wait, hold on. Let me double check.
2006. I don't know.
Was it 2000? No, actually, he was freshman of the year in 2004.
I was going to say, wait a minute.
I take that back. He was a freshman in 2004. But just think about that. Rookie of the year in 2007. He was only 2 draft classes after Frank Gore.
Yeah. And
he's
these guys are
36.
still going at it.
And, like, he didn't have a bad season in Detroit. He rushed for 1,000. He actually had the longest rushing touchdown of any running back over the age of 30. Because he had I remember when he ripped off a 90-yard touchdown run. And I think I had him on my fantasy team. He actually saved one of my fantasy seasons to get me into the playoffs.
You got to play for money to be so proud of your fantasy teams, bro. I'm just telling you right now.
Do I have to, though?
You know what, man? I won 2.
Bro, I have like 1,200 Dodge coins. Like, I'm already itching at pulling out the equity that I've made from Dogecoin.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm like,
Just $100, man. Just put $100 to play 17
I put 200
weeks,
a couple
16
weeks ago. I went 100 here, 200 there, 300 there. I started putting down big money once I saw that shit jump from 20 to 30 to 40 to 60. I was like, oh, yeah. I wish I would have just bought a ton of it when it was like 15 cents. I could have. Because I missed out on the Bitcoin wave. Because I'm like, once you have to pay $100 per share, you missed out.
Yeah, cryptocurrency. Get it while it's hot.
Indeed. But, yeah. Like, I factor that in, and I'm just like, with the whole line situation and running backs, DeAndre Swift is the guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the long and short of it.
Yeah.
I don't even remember who the backup is anymore. Because it was Kerryon Johnson and somebody else who was splitting carries. But now it's just, I don't know if AP's still there. I think AP's still there.
Yeah, I think AP still with the Lions right now.
AP with the Lions. And, I mean, shit, the only team he hasn't played for is the Packers and the Bears, damn near.
Yeah, right.
But, yeah, so Dolphins cut team captain, starting strong safety Bobby McCain, and he visited Washington, or the WTFs. Also, the Chiefs signed Kamalei Correa, edge rusher, former first-round pick, out of Boise State, who played on the Rams. No, he played on the Ravens, and then got traded to the Titans.
Well, I mean, just, again, adding on to the Chiefs right now is just, when will it stop? Who can stop them?
Because they loaded up.
They are loaded. That's a loaded team.
You could say they arguably had an A-plus offseason.
Yeah.
Based off everybody that they pulled together.
I mean, even brought Kyle Long out. I mean, that guy's going to be fresh with a year off.
Tardif is coming back at guard, and he was a Pro Bowler. Kyle Long can play tackle and guard. Creed Humphreys is going to be an outstanding center. They have Austin Blythe, so at worst he'll be a backup where he can probably play guard. Like, it's... And Creed Humphrey's a great athlete, so he's snapped for Kyle Murray.
It's like Mahomes is just going to be
Hurd.
walking in the pit, just like not ever being touched.
He went have to run for his life.
Yeah. He's just his uniform is just going to be prestigiously clean at the end of the game. He's not going to get touched.
Mike Reimers won't see the field.
No.
If Mike Reimers is your starting right tackle, you're fucked. I hate to break it to you.
Somebody's going to get hurt probably one day.
It's like some cats, they're just like,
I don't know, dude.
Like even edge rushers, they know that one guy. Oh, he's that tackle. Oh, I'm about to eat.
Who knows? I mean, hey, you know what, dude? I don't know if you could really count out the Chargers in that division right now. And they bring it to Kansas City every time they play. I mean Herbert's first win was almost the Chiefs on a game that he was just thrown in at the last minute because they're trying to kill the other quarterback with a needle.
Like I said,
pop him like a balloon.
That's fucked up.
It is fucked up, but it's the truth.
It is, but like I said, when it comes to Justin Herbert, it was destiny for him to be a Charger. It made too much sense. And once he played the way he played, I was like, oh no, this kid gets it.
Yeah.
Like throwing, he threw 31 touchdowns and it looked like it could have been 38.
Yeah,
had they let him really just run the offense, bro. Like
and not shave his head.
He'll learn from that. He got to go to a black barber. He'll
get some cornrows or what?
No, he'll have a permanent lining. Because like when you go, sometimes you go to barbers, you go supercuts and shit. They don't think to cut. They cut your hair for a style. No, you got to cut this man's hair so his hairline and fade will be intact for the next 20 years. So then, if he wants to grow it out and like he has a good base and foundation, then the locks will look even better because you can see his hairline. When you can't see somebody's hairline and just distressed, it's not a good look.
I have that look right now, ladies and gentlemen. I got that face for radio, so you know.
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
Bald people would say, "I hate people who have hair and wear hats." You technically don't need a hat.
No.
I mean, yeah, scruff is different. Like that's why I got my beard cut the way I did, and I got all my neck hair and shit cut off because I want this to line up so when it grows out, it'll actually look.
Oh, dude, I miss actually really getting my beard done. I really do miss like actually going to the barber and getting my beard done. I can't wait for that to happen again because it's like
my barber used a fucking razor that I'm pretty like the razors that cats in the 30s were cutting people with.
Oh, like a straight
fresh razor.
Blade,
it was hot
blade.
too.
Oh yeah, dude, those are
and just clean and like rounded out the beard. I was like,
feels good. You're all smooth. No ingrowns.
Oh man, I mean, I put on some Tiger Balm.
Not Tiger Balm.
The aftershave, the green one.
Oh really?
The green one burns like a bitch, but it smells really good.
See, I'm not all about the aftershave burn. Yeah, nah. Just let it breathe. Let it moisturize. Let it.
As soon as I get home, I wash my head with hot water and like shea butter. Just wash my hair out, wash my scalp, wash my face, neck, the aftershave. Then I'll brush it. Then I'll put a do-rag on it and a wave cap. Just let it sit in for a little bit. But I don't sleep with a wave cap and a do-rag, which I should.
I can't sleep with anything on my head.
Because when I put the wave cap and the do-rag on, that shit was really tight. The wave cap was insanely tight. I was like, this is some bullshit. The do-rag was silky smooth. I had the flap in the back. But the do-rag, I was like, dog, my brain hurts. Like, it's pressing down on, like, the nerve in my head, and I can feel it.
Oh, man. No. See. It's nice thing my hair just has a mind of its own. I actually wear a hat so I don't have to wear gel and shit.
I feel it. I used to like wave gel, wave grease and all that shit.
LA looks or what?
Nah, I was like, let me use the wave, the orange cans, the Dax and all that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, nah, it just fucks up my hair worse. Like, I don't even like using wave gel. I'm like, so when I went to this beauty shop, they're like, okay, well, you could use the straight up, like, the oils for your scalp. I think it's like vitamin E or some shit, like just pure vitamin E and some other stuff. So I've been using that, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I used it one time, brushed it, and my hair has not moved yet. It's just like right here. So I'm like, all right.
It works.
Once I get down to like really being consistent with getting this, because those guys get the shadow fade. I don't know why I'm talking about my hair and my mustache.
This is a football podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
We have beards. We like
men's with beards. That should be the sub podcast. Like men's with patchy beards. Mine's kind of patchy. I'm a Latin guy that doesn't grow much hair, but
and like I don't want to say mine's patchy. It's a baby beard. Like
you're not fighting in 300 right now, man. You got to have the full beard.
Yeah, like before, like a couple months ago when I really grew this shit out and I was looking like a caveman, They'd be like, oh, yeah, you got a beard. I just grew it out just to prove I could do it to myself, that I could actually grow a beard. And then once that happened, I'm like, okay, let me clean this shit up the right way.
He started looking. Seriously, during the first lockdown, I said, well, the whole time I would be furloughed, I'd just grow my beard out. And I thought it was going to be 3 weeks, turned into 3 months. And I was like, I literally had about 4 inches of my face of hair. It was insane. Or maybe 3 inches.
Did your wife just look at you and yell, well, son?
Well, actually, she did that a couple of times. I'll be honest, she did. Well, son. She legitimately did that, yes.
She has to get you like a volleyball for Christmas now, or your birthday.
Nah, dude, just I had a comb. I had like the gunk to shape the beard. Oh, man. I even tried braiding it for a minute.
Yeah, you got to braid it at least once.
And then back to reality and had to shave.
Fun times.
Adulting 101.
I still feel like I shouldn't, like, if you're a cook, you shouldn't have to wear pants in the kitchen if you're wearing an apron.
You should always wear pants, period.
I feel like I could wear basketball shorts.
Oh, dude, I've seen some guys like burn themselves on some on kitchen shit. Now, I mean,
get
some swamp ass, but
we'll shelve that conversation. Hello, caller. What is your name and where you calling from?
This is a black guy named Phil Jones calling from the far, far, far east.
I forgot to hit that button earlier, but shout out to Phil, brother from another mother. We both hate Sean Kingston. Especially
that's this common denominator with you two. You both hate Sean Kingston.
I saw someone on Snapchat that got me just blood red angry. He literally hired a dude to have a hovercraft. He wasn't even on the hovercraft. He hired some dude in a hovercraft to go up in the air. I think he paid like $85,000 for it. I was like, I hate you. This is worse.
Shit, that motherfucker's money is probably fucking good now. I mean, shit, he's like, hey, I ain't got to sing no more, but I got all this money and revenue and shit. So you know what? Hey, $85,000, get your ass up and down on this hovercraft. All right, let's go.
And then looking at somebody else doing it, I'm like, bro, you didn't even do it. You paid somebody to do it. Like, I'm gonna see him try it out. He gonna wear a special suit, and if he dies, it'll be okay. I'll just get somebody. I still have an $85,000 fucking hovercraft, and he was like 100 feet up in the air. It was wild.
Oh god, hell no.
But speaking of things just up and smoking up in the air and just coming down in a shitty heap, how'd you feel about the Raiders draft last week?
Oh man, I did a live stream for the draft, and everybody caught my reaction. I mean, damn, about nearly 3,000 people tuned in to see that shit for my fucking reaction, and it was not a pretty one. When you hear Alex Leatherwood, I mean, I'm like, hold the fuck up. Alex Leatherwood?
Vladimir Dukas?
You see the gif of my man when we drafted Cleveland Farrell, and he's like, what the fuck?
I'm still hurt.
And walked off. Put the hoodie on, put the raincoat hood on him, and just walked off. But, I mean, when I saw this, bro, like, usually me and my dad see, like, eye to eye, like, with, like, the draft and shit. Like, he's the OG. I've gotten better at building, like, draft boards and putting up scenarios with, like, my mock drafts on, like, who would be the logical fit for a team and who would we get. He had him going second round. Now, out of majority of the draft, my dad has been on point probably about 90% of the time. I shit you not.
Mm.
I look at Leatherwood, and Leatherwood back in 2019, he said, and I said the same thing, Leatherwood should have been a first-round pick 2019, where we were at, sitting at 17 and going all the way towards, like, the end of the first round to second round. This year, Leatherwood, as we should have thought, he should have been second round. Now, I looked at him this year. He gave about 5 sacks. 2019, no sacks. No sacks allowed. No pressure allowed. But then we hear the whole, well, you know, he's going to be a plug-and-play guy. We're going to put him at right tackle. I'm like, bro, he's never played right tackle in his life. He's played right guard, but he has not played right tackle. When you play right tackle, it's like a whole different, it's like learning everything is opposite what you've done on the left side of the line. And I mean, it feels weird doing this shit.
Especially down blocking to the left.
And I'm just trying to, figure out, he's going to go against speed rushers. And I looked at how he did against speed rushers in the Senior Bowl. He was not doing that well against them. And you look at the pass rushers that we're going to face in our division, and then you also look, we got to face the NFC East. He has a challenge.
Shout out to Montez Sweat. Should have been a Raider.
He's not going to have an easy rookie year. He's got to deal with Chase Young. He's going to have to deal with Lawrence or maybe Michael Parsons. He's going to have to deal with possibly Leonard Williams, depending on which side they flip him on.
The Georgia edge rusher.
You got to deal with Clark. You got to deal with Von Miller. I mean, I can go down the list of edge rushers he's got to face, and it's not pretty. So he has his work cut out for him. Now, do I have hope in Tom Cable and what he can do for that first round? Yeah. Would I be trying to overhype this pick and say that, this is an A+ pick? Hell no. This was about a B. This is about a B. This grade was a B.
Why do you think they passed on Dennis out of Virginia Tech?
So this is where I'm going to get everybody at and get everybody called up to date. Because we didn't have an NFL combine, a lot of them, they were looking to try to get a lot of these guys in to Indianapolis to turn over the medical work. A lot of the medical work did not come in on time. So there were some teams scrambling and going with, their second scenario. Now, if you were getting a quarterback, you were good. Now, if you were going towards the later first round and all, you had to go with either option 2 or option 3. Some of these teams were getting their medical report, the medical report for the rookies, Wednesday evening or that draft during draft day or that night. So there were some red flags on certain players. We talked about Tevin Jenkins. Tevin Jenkins, back problems. I think there was some injury issues with Darrisaw as well. So when you look at those things, you're just like, okay, I see it. I kind of understand now why they went with Leatherwood, but I'm still not going to bless this pick as an A+. I'm still giving it a B. But when you go and look at everything else through the draft that the Raiders did, they did a pretty good damn job. And this is how I know there's a slight change in things. John Gruden held back from getting a skill position player on offense.
I think that's where they made a mistake. I think when Elijah Moore was still on the board, they should have got him. And didn't he end up going the third round? And then you got Shi Smith, who went super late out of South Carolina. He was killing it at the Senior Bowl too. And they take 3 safeties.
You got to look. What was disgusting last year? If you looked at that defense,
all of it,
the back end. I mean, yeah, all of it, but the back end was the worst. The worst. You can't, and that should tell you right there. They got three safeties. Now, one's going to be more in the box, more like he's going to be more of a rover.
Gillespie?
And that's going to be Devon Diablo.
I thought they were going to
be more like linebacker safety.
Yeah, because they said he was going to play Will, and I'm like, that's what Tanner Muse was supposed to be. But I guess Tanner Muse is probably just going to end up playing the inside linebacker, which is where he should probably.
Now, here's one thing that I'm piecing together. That whole Tanner Muse project, with him playing linebacker, I think he might end up going back and playing safety. Remember, Bradley likes his tall safeties.
Oh, yeah, but he's not very agile on the perimeter. Like, if he ran a 4.41, but I'd much rather, like, even in college, he was more of a tackler and a box guy. I could trust him if you're going to groom him to be a middle linebacker so Littleton can actually be a natural rover and playmaker in the secondary. And I can't say Nick's last name because it's way too long, but he's like a solid he's like a solid option. But I'm looking like, okay, if you want Diablo to be your like Cam Chancellor but at linebacker, you're going to have one of the fastest linebacking cores in the league because Muse is there at a 4.4. Littleton's athletic and rangy. Nick, isn't slow either. And Diablo's running a 4.42 at his pro day, at like 6'3", 230. And then you got, Mornick, the TCU safety. Okay, he's your – I almost want to say he's like a poor man's Earl Thomas because he has ball skills and he can play. But he's like clearly your true free safety. Abrams.
He's your true free safety, and he's going to be one of your best secondary players. But you look at what they've done so far. If you're going to see, I think we're going to see a lot of the nickel package of a 3-3-5. You're going to see that a lot. And that's why I said, like, having Diablo come in that package, and you're going to have Littleton in that package, and you might end up having Morrow inside the middle for that package. Now, don't get me wrong, I think Kiwakowski would still be fine in the middle, but I think they want to just have a little bit more speed out there in those certain packages out there, and you're gonna, and then like right on the line, you're gonna have David Irvin maybe, and you're gonna have Ndakwe, and then you're gonna have Quentin Jefferson in that package.
Crosby,
or Phelan,
Clelin Ferrell, because they said they might put him in D tackle.
I'm saying in that certain package, in that 3-man front, he'll probably end up playing he'll probably stay at the DN spot.
Mm-hmm.
Or, it could go from Quentin Jefferson and him playing the D tackle spot. And then you're going to have David Irvin kick outside on one side, and then you have, the Yannick on the other. And then the other thing is, you'll also see Matt. They're gonna rotate these guys. Those are gonna be your main guys that are most likely gonna rotate.
Yeah, because I wasn't really feeling that Kuntz pick out of Buffalo. It's like, what? I mean, there were other guys on the board, but also like, why are you gonna go back to your ex's old school to get pass rushers?
No, but Kuntz is a pretty good damn pass rusher. So there was nothing wrong with going and looking at Buffalo and saying, "Hey, let's go on and grab him." I mean, the guy does work out a lot with Khalil Mack, and he did. If I recall, he did. Set the sack record. He actually passed Mack on the sack record for a single season, if I recall.
I don't know if that was Gruden being petty, but it also is pretty good scouting. But it's like, I don't know. I feel like Gillespie never recorded an interception in college. He's a deep safety who never got a pick in Missouri, and they were always getting the ball thrown on them. Like, just go back when. That's weird to me. Like Nick Nelson, like I don't trust DBs who can't get picks.
But you know what? I trust the staff that we have now that can develop these guys into the better person than they were in college. You look at what they've done, what Miller's has done with that secondary, especially if you look at the Chargers the past 3 years. When Miller's was there and everybody was healthy in 2018, people were scared of the Chargers defense, especially that back end. They didn't want to really throw on them. When it came down to 2019, they were still dealing with some injuries, and but they were still solid. 2020, everybody's dropping like flies due to COVID and injuries. They're still holding it together, and they're still pretty damn solid. Gus Bradley, Millers, and then White as the linebacker coach, and then Marinelli. I think this is going to be a great staff being able to help get these guys to a better stature than what some folks are thinking. Like Gillespie, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I'm about the same way. I'm like, damn, he hasn't had an interception in his collegiate career, and you really want that?
34 games in the SEC? No picks?
Trust me, I'm the same way. But the thing of it is, I've just seen the work that they've done with later round talent, and it's paid off if you go and look at history with them. From Bradley being at Seattle and then looking at the Chargers, it's paid off. And I think the same thing can happen with the Raiders. It can pay off.
Yeah, because I like the Casey Hayward pick. Just like 4 years too late. Like, it'd have been dope had he went from the Packers to the Raiders, but the Raiders weren't trying to spend money on cats back then.
I think Paul Gunther would have screwed the pooch on that one. So things happen for a reason. I think you can get about a good maybe 2 years out of Casey Hayward. I know, he's playing 1 year on a 1 year deal. You can give him another 1 year deal and see where that goes. But now, if you really look at it with this roster, your starting lineup that could be possibly projected as Farrell, Hankins, Jefferson, Yannick Crosby, I put it as that, Littleton, Kwiatkowski, Morrow, and then you have Mullen, Hayward on the outside. You're looking at Arnett being your slot guy now. And then you're also looking at your safeties, Moray and then Abrams. So, I mean, that roster right there, I mean, yes, on paper, but it looks so much better than what we were looking at the past 3 years. So we were looking at some bargain bin guys. We were looking at some guys that had no business even starting.
There was some Dollar Tree defense out there.
Dollar Tree, man. It was more than Dollar Tree, bro. We were at Aldi's and getting something for 79 cents.
They was out here getting 34-cent containers of water. Like, I just
go on.
When I look at it, it's like this class, it doesn't stand out at all. And it's like I look at them as like the only team in the league who literally didn't get anybody who could make their situation better from day one. TCU safety, maybe. It depends on if the cornerbacks can get it together. Like Isaiah Johnson's been there a while. Nothing. David Arnett should have never even been picked. Like I'm never taking a corner who wins a 4-6 in the first round. I'm just not. And
Well,
like
technically, now, hold on.
4.5.
Now, what we found out about Arnett was it was two things. One, they fucked up on the 40 time with the monitor, and then two, Arnett wasn't even healthy when he went to the combine. Arnett's not slow. That's the thing, and see that's what gets me with the combine. I'd be scratching my head a couple times. I'd just be like, now hold up, this shit's not accurate. So why are we still running with that? That's why some of these teams still be running with their own stopwatches. Be like, I got this time. I don't know what they're talking about right here.
Yeah.
So not everything's accurate. I mean, from what I've gathered, Arnett has ran 4.3, 4.39, 4.4, and when I covered Maryland, and I saw Arnett play, Arnett looks a lot faster than what he ran for that 40 time.
Yeah.
So I've seen him up close when I was like on the sideline. So I tell you this, Arnett can get the work done. Arnett needs this defense just needs discipline. They need better guidance. They need to be put in the right place, and they need someone to put a foot in their ass when they screw up. And this staff can do that.
Yeah.
The reason why Marinelli couldn't do that last year because he's like in a situation where like, I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes because I'm just here to be the D-line coach, and they haven't pulled the trigger on Paul Gunther to be axed and had me do what I need to do.
Yeah.
So it was a weird situation.
Yeah. But speaking of weird situations, the Aaron Rodgers fiasco, hypothetically speaking, if you could trade Derek Carr to the Packers to get Aaron Rodgers, you make that trade?
I'm sending that trade right now as we speak. As we speak right now, I'm sending this
But who you
to
giving
the
up?
Packers and saying, we're getting this trade done now.
Who you giving up? And what are you giving up?
I give up Derek Carr. I give up Max Crosby.
Interesting.
And come to think about it, I would actually give up Damon Arnett.
That's what I was thinking.
And with that, I also give you 2 first-round picks.
Whoa, 2 first-round picks? He's in his 16th year.
You might as well not have him instead of using him badly.
I mean, because let's be real here.
You're not wrong.
I mean, let's be real here. This is the MVP.
Yeah.
This is discount double check.
I think he would do more.
Discount double check.
I think he would do more with I think this Raiders receiving core, there's nothing wrong with them except for the fact that they're under the tutelage of John Gruden.
Yeah.
You know what? You know the funny thing about that? We say under the tool of John Gruden. But let's be real here. Who's on the field in control of the offense? Who's in control of the pre-snaps? That's Derek Carr. When we see the red zone situation,
4th and goal.
we'll wonder why we're settling for 3 and all that crap. Why didn't you audible? Why didn't you survey the field? Why are you still sticking with the same play and not checking out of it? Now, you check out of any other thing, but why are you not doing it in the red zone? Because you think, oh, well, Josh Jacobs has a big body, we're going to push through here and get the score. That's not always going to happen. And, you're indecisive and you decide, oh, now I'll run it for a score. Like, come on. Technically speaking, Derek Carr could have had more rushing touchdowns versus the ones he has right now. Well, he ended up with, what, 3?
Yeah, he doesn't run very often.
And the other thing about it is this. When you're dealing with John Gruden, you have to be combative. You have to challenge him. He's not challenging him. And this is why John Gruden, this is what irritates me. You had Jason Witten out there that had no damn business being on that field.
Disgusting.
As the second string tight end.
No.
I don't care. Look, he's a Hall of Famer. Congratulations. Okay, whip-de-doo. But the fact of the matter is you're too damn old. You're too damn slow. You had no business being out on that field as the second tight end. Now, if he was the third tight end and then they finally throw to him, I'd have been happy. Okay, cool. But Foster Moreau should have been your guy that you had out there.
Facts.
You should have been throwing to him. And the other thing about it, Foster Moreau knew he could catch in traffic. He knew how to use his body as, I'm going to catch this ball and I'm going to throw my weight towards the end zone. I'm not going to have a problem. Foster Moreau was willing to run those meshes in between traffic and get the job done. If you looked at most of those passes towards Jason Witten, they wanted to throw it towards the corner of the end zone or run it as like a little quick slant to the outside. And that shit wasn't working. And so Derek Carr right there, you need an audible. You need to be like, you saying kill, kill, kill and all this other stuff. Why are you not killing that play and telling, okay, I want this play to go to Waller. We're going to just take the chance. Let's go to Waller. You know what? I'm going to take the chance. I'm going to try to call my own number and run it in. Or, hey, you know what? I'm going to look for the running back in the flats. So there were multiple things that you could have done instead of settling for only, 3 points. The other thing I will say with John Gruden, where he failed at, John Gruden failed at this whole, we're going to come in, we're going to build a winning franchise again, blah, blah, blah. No. You spent too much time trying to rebuild Derek Carr. That's the problem. You spent too much time. And now this is not hate, but if you really look at it, he spent, after Derek Carr had his whole mishap from the whole leg break and then the back injury, it's like he tried to rebuild him going from 2018 to 2019, then going into 2020. And if you go back and listen to the interview that Lincoln Kennedy had said about about Derek Carr and with John Gruden's office, he tried to use the whole throwing to your tight end or throwing. He was doing something to use as a crutch. I'm trying to remember what it was, but I think check down, something like that. But the thing of it is, you spent too much time on him where you have nothing to show. You have really nothing to show for it. You had no success. You're sitting at 4-12, 7-9, 8-8. You've done nothing in these past 3 years. When it comes to you running as supreme overlord, or you supposedly have Mike Mayock as your GM, but really you're having all the final say in everything. You have not done really a good job with that whole situation. And until he decides to not be arrogant with certain things, if you expect this team to be a playoff team, the best win-loss record I can give this team for next year is 9-8 or 10-7, and those two right there, you're not going to be able to get in the playoffs.
That sounds like a nasty number, but then it's like, well, we're at 17 games now. Yeah. It's like
it's not enough.
Isn't this what they've been since the 12-4 season? They just lucked out that 12-4 season.
See, that was lucked out, and here's the funny thing about it. If you go back and look, who was closing out those games so they could get to 12-4 on that second half.
Wasn't Marshawn Lynch on those teams?
That second half of that 2016 season, who was helping them close it out?
Defense.
Who was really the one that was closing out? Khalil Mack.
The pick six game. Yeah.
The strip sack. So it was what, Carolina, Buffalo, then what, the Colts game.
Was that the year he had 5 sacks?
No, that was the year before. That was 2015 where he got the 5 sacks.
Yeah.
But if you really look, and that's what I'm saying, what's wild, come to think about it, you notice that from that time frame, from 2015 to now, even though it was Del Rio during that time frame, you notice how they really struggled in that second half of the season.
Oh, yeah.
Who's still left that's been struggling in that second half of the season?
Oh, my God. Derek
I'm
Carr.
just saying. I mean, let's be real.
So that's why you got to throw in 2 first-round picks, even though they got a first-round pick at QB already? When you have to give up a couple DBs and maybe... That's why I don't know if it's that enticing for the Packers to even take that trade. Like,
2 first round. I mean, look at it. You look at how Detroit and LA, the Rams did their trade. They said, okay, we'll give up like 2 first round picks, and then you got your player and all that. At least with that, you get something done. But I'm telling you this: you get Aaron Rodgers, you're guaranteed to be in the playoffs for the next couple of seasons until he decides to retire. I mean, he has about 5 years left on that contract.
And people forget he really only played like 11 years out of the 16.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at Tom fucking Brady. Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay.
Plugged in.
Hasn't even played with these guys. Everybody's like, well, he's going to have to learn. They're going to have to do this. They're all going to have to mesh together and all that. They found their identity, that second half of the season, and the rest is history.
Run just enough and then throw it to your receivers. The defense is literally going to bail us out.
And the wild thing about it, so everybody tries to say, like, Aaron Rodgers failed in that Packers game against Tampa Bay. No, he didn't.
Kevin King
Matt
failed.
LaFleur pulled him off the field, and they went with the field goal. So you mean to tell me Aaron Rodgers, because they came back in that game, you mean to tell me Aaron Rodgers couldn't have gone for it on 4th down and executed that?
Yeah, and I would have let him pick the play. But Aaron, the show call. I'll give you a play. If you don't like it, audible out.
Right?
And I think they have, and then they get Amari Rodgers in the 3rd round, and it's like, this is a little bit too late for that. You could have had Justin Jefferson as a rookie.
Oh, man. You're not lying on that one. You're not lying. And then the funny thing about
Philly
it,
still sick.
I think the year before they could have had instead of taking Darnell Savage. I mean, I like that's my boy from over here in Maryland and all that.
Yeah, he's solid.
But you could have had DK Metcalf.
And he'd been perfect in that system.
Yeah.
Because what does Green Bay do? Develop wide receivers. I mean, the Raiders could have had DK too, but that's a whole nother issue.
Like, don't get me wrong. I like the wide receivers we currently have. The thing of it is, they're not elevating. They're not on that next level.
Yeah.
You give Aaron Rodgers, Darren Waller. That's on some unholy level right there. That's
and he loves tight ends.
Exactly. you're giving him Foster Moreau. Darren Waller, Foster Moreau. Think about that.
Hunter
right
Renfrow. He don't even need Hunter Renfrow because he got Brian Edwards, I guess Zay Jones, Ruggs, who my fear is he might be a bust because of Carr and his lack of ability to throw it to the fastest guy on the field. I mean, that receiving room isn't bad.
No, it's not. Not by a long shot. And here's the funny thing.
I still would have added Chai Smith, though.
People are really not giving John Brown the credit he actually deserves, because when John Brown was with the Cardinals, he had, 1,000-yard season.
Like 25 yards a catch.
When he went to, Buffalo that first year.
1,000-yard season.
1,000-yard season. And then he got injured like this past year. People consider John Brown a threat. If John Brown can have a healthy season, yeah. And Willie Snead, I doubt Willie Snead's going to really get back to the guy he was in New Orleans. But if you can at least get about 4, maybe 500 yards out of him, that's pretty damn good.
Because me personally, when it comes to Josh Jacobs, I've told Pete this and other people, I don't want to build the foundation of my offense on a slow running back who's a power back at that. Like, when the Raiders could have had Nick Chubb, that's somebody you build your offense around. But Jacobs, he went to Alabama. You saw what happened to Dylan Moses at linebacker. Like, Alabama cats come in at certain positions beat up, even if they don't have a lot of wear and tear on them. Like, Jacobs is cool, but there's other running backs I would have over him that I'd be cool with. I'd rather have Aaron Jones than him. I'd rather have a guy who can take it to the house on his own accord rather than, okay, yeah, he got me the tough yards. But it's like, okay.
Well, that's why you got Kerryon Drake.
And they kind of spent a little bit too much for him too, but it is what it is.
I mean, you look at with Kerryon Drake. Didn't he have about 1,000-yard season? He had about 10, 20 yards off of 1,000 yards.
I think he had like a 200-yard rushing game too. But
so
again,
that's my thing. You got 2 Alabama running backs now, and then you got a Jalen Richard, who I'm gonna tell you this. I think Jalen Richard might end up getting cut this year. I look at what's his name, Trey Regis from Louisiana.
Oh, Raymond Calais.
He's pretty solid, man.
Wait, the Raiders signed him?
Yeah, as undrafted free agent.
Oh, damn. Oh, wait, you're talking about this year. I was thinking of last year because Raymond Calais is a burner. He got signed by the Rams, but the Bucs traded him. But I think you should at least get a running back who's a burner because you never know when it might hit. You look at all those Niners running backs and them coming out of nowhere, and now everybody wants Mostert. Like, for certain guys, when it hits for them.
Another thing about it with John Gruden, he loves his running backs, just like he loves his tight ends. And this is the one thing I give the plus with that whole Leatherwood pick, if he is playing right tackle. Cause I have some weird feeling that there's going to be some weird mishap, and they end up sliding him in the guard, and then Denzel Good's going to be a right tackle.
Or throwing a stupid amount of money at Mitchell Schwartz.
Oh, man, God. I'd probably be beating my head into the wall. But the thing of it is, if you had that line right there that can run block, and that was a problem. The problem, that was one, I will say that was one problem with the red zone. Your right tackle and your right guard at the time was struggling to get to the next level on their blocks when it came to red zone offense. So that was why you had Gabe Jackson being shipped out. And, even when you had Trent Brown, he decided to come back in. I mean, still wasn't that good. And then you had Sam Young. God, I don't know why you kept him, because that was a wasted body. And then Brandon Parker was like hit or miss with it.
I'm still mad about Brandon Parker because he could have easily been Harrison Phillips or Fred Warner, but they took Brandon Parker. I'm still mad about that.
And don't remind me of that, because I wanted Harrison Phillips.
I was pounding the table. I was like, he literally he's like Kyle Williams mixed with Geno Atkins. And he's
exactly
freakishly strong. Like, it would have solved so many problems.
And it was bad because, like, even Harrison Phillips gave me the shout out, bro. I said, bro, we gonna draft you. He said, oh, hell yeah, brother. I was like, oh, shit, yeah, we gonna get you, man. No, we didn't get him.
Yeah, bro. Like, you have like 150 tackles as a D tackle at Stanford by itself. That's crazy. Yeah. But to wrap things up, man, just one last question. So, who do you think won the draft? Since we clearly all think the Raiders they didn't win it, but they're near the bottom. But who do you think won it?
Who, man? I give it to Carolina.
Interesting, because people were giving them bad grades, and I'm like, how? They got everything at a position to need. Like, Horn is a day one starter at corner.
Yeah.
Shi Smith, I thought, was a steal as late as they got him in the draft. I mean, the Panthers aren't playing around. They gave Sam Darnold weapons. They got Terrence Marshall, and you got Terrence Marshall, Roy Anderson, and I forget his name.
DJ Moore.
DJ Moore out of Maryland, baller. And you're getting, you still got the dude who took over, not Mike Davis. Was it Mike Davis? Who was McCaffrey's backup who went off? I think it might have been Mike Davis. But yeah, like,
say his name.
You got all that help and Sam Darnold, which is essentially a top flight QB prospect, technically.
And the funny thing about it, everybody kept saying that Sam Darnold, he's a washed up, he's trash. I'm like, no, he's not trash. The problem is the Jets didn't invest to protect him. The Jets didn't go and put weapons around him until the last year, and then, oh wait, they let the right tackle leave. They didn't have a running back. Now you look at Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's got arguably the best running backs in the NFL right behind him. His wide receiver core is pretty damn good, and the O-line is pretty solid. So Sam Darnold's going to rejuvenate his whole career with the Panthers, and I think they're going to have an amount of success. Side note I add in is this. Your starting quarterback for Denver is going to end up being Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
That's interesting. If they don't get Aaron Rodgers, that could be interesting. But that offense,
I put it like if they trade Aaron Rodgers somewhere else and not the AFC West, I'm happy. I'll be fine. The Raiders don't get him, but they trade Rodgers to New Orleans. I'm fine. I'm not going to trip.
I feel it
because we don't have to deal with it 2 times out of the year.
Yeah, because he would find a way to not end up on the Raiders.
Yeah, but hey, it's going to be interesting with this camp. I mean, they say that some of these guys are not going to go to these mini camps, or they'll sit out and they'll come up for the mandatory. But I think a lot of these guys are going to end up showing up either way. the voluntary, because if the Raiders really want to get a competitive edge, they're going to have to bring these guys in. Just bring them in, just work with them at any aspect versus what you would normally do for like the mini camps. But bring them in. Don't even take photos. Don't even let nobody know. Just bring them in and make sure that everybody can be up to speed on the same page. Because if you really want to win in the AFC, you got to find some edge, and you got to find it fast. Because if you don't, you're going to be sitting in the middle of the pack, and then you're going to fall apart once again in the second half of the season. So hopefully the Raiders pull this together. And also, if Derek Carr has solid, overall, if he ends up having that solid year, he's going to get that extension. But he's got to make it to the playoffs. That's the only way he's going to get that extension. If Derek Carr gets his team to the playoffs, he'll get an extension for probably about maybe 3 or 4 years or so.
I should feel optimistic about that, but I don't.
No, I'm not optimistic. I'm just telling everybody how it's probably going to end up being.
Yeah.
And then, if he's not looking good, I think John Gruden's going to end up benching him ASAP, and we're going to have Mariota just hold down the rest of the season. Then Raiders will be looking at a quarterback for next year.
Yeah, Malik.
It could go two ways. You could go on and say, hey, things cleared up with Deshaun Watson. We're going to go on and make the trade with Deshaun Watson. If not, then the Raiders would be looking for a rookie quarterback next year if things don't work out this year, like not making the playoffs.
Yeah, and there's a couple of them out there in this next couple in class. If they choose to come out, the Liberty QB, Sam Howell out of North Carolina. I'm not sold on Kendall Slovis, but it's still, we'll see. But thank you again for staying up late and chatting with us, bro. Shout out your socials.
Hey, y'all can find me at Phil Jones NFL on Twitter, on Instagram. You guys can find me for the Unfiltered Truth. That's on YouTube. We have the website now up at the unfilteredtruth.com. And surprisingly, I don't know why we haven't got putting on Telemundo yet. I tell everybody, like, we're going to be on Telemundo. We're going to be on BBC and all that sooner or later.
Hell yeah.
But, and if you ever want to catch the shows, we're now on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, all that good stuff.
Fantastic, brother. Thank you for calling in. Stay safe out there and keep staying petty. And one of these days, I'm going to jump in one of those fake clubhouse rooms on Twitter that they got. Because every time I see notifications, I see you in a room talking, and I'm like, I wonder how that works on Twitter.
Huh.
Oh, bro, the spaces, you got to try it. It's funny as crap because Raiders Twitter, like, I just say screw it. It's fair game, and I roast car stands in there, or sooner or later you learn some wild stuff, man. Like, there'll be some Raider fans telling me, they said, look, man, you being a black guy, whatever you do, don't ever go to was it Oilendale over in California?
Yeah, Irwindale.
They said don't ever do one there.
Don't be caught
They told
there.
you don't ever. They said don't you ever
Never ever
step foot there.
Damn.
Indeed, indubitably.
So, hey, that's why I love doing spaces, because you learn something new every day about being over in California.
Yeah, man. When the state opens up in Cali, when we open up in I think like June, me and Pete gonna be doing some jet setting, hitting up a couple states, couple cities. Might have to come out there and see you.
You gotta come out to the DC, Maryland area. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be fun. You ain't got to deal with that orange Cheeto guy anymore, so it's safe to say you can come into DC.
I feel it. I respect it. All right, brother. Have a good night. And thank you, man. Stay
All right,
good.
you take care.
Peace. And fuck John Kingston.
Damn right.
Ooh. All righty then. Shout out to Phil Jones, man. This when I saw that shit with Sean Kingston, I was like, $85,000. You not even on the fucking hovercraft. You watching this dude do it, and you paid $85,000. I was like, yo, you trying to lose some weight? You gonna be on that shit by the end of the year, aren't you? Oh man, but whatever. Yeah, shout out to Phil though. I feel like we just had to get this Raiders thing done and out of the way. Just get the nasty.
Just a full cleanse of pettiness.
I'm glad Pete wasn't here for it because he probably would have been triggered. He probably is triggered listening to this episode.
He probably is triggered.
Mostly because he might be like, you guys said a monotone this episode. But anyway, so we're going to run through some shit and then get out of here. Yet again, still college football.
It's piling up.
Yeah. It's piling up by a lot. Like, I feel like I should start getting to it. I'll just run through a couple things. So, Johnny Manziel said football's behind him at the Texas A&M spring
I feel like
game.
This is the 5th time I've heard him say that football's behind him. Like, it's not that far behind him, apparently.
Yeah, like, why the fuck are you even still going back to... Did you even get your degree, bro?
He's like the guy...
Why the fuck are you still here? You don't go here anymore.
It's like that guy who's in college who goes back to his high school to watch him play and say that, hey, that's my old position.
3 years after you fucking graduated.
Yeah.
So the freshmen who are there are seniors now, and they didn't even know or like you, bro.
Yeah, they're like...
Why are you here?
Like, I'm bigger than you now.
I'm actually recruited and better than you. All the coaches thought you were a bitch.
Yeah. Whatever. Johnny Manziel, you had potential to be something great and special, and, well, I have no pity for that guy. He threw it away himself.
Pissed down his entire leg.
Yeah, so,
and
whatever.
Then went and jumped in the swimming pool.
Johnny Manziel, you might say football's behind you, but you are behind football.
You're clout chasing football now.
Yeah.
It's gross. Don't be that person at the hookah lounge who aged out.
Yeah.
Don't be that person. It's awkward.
Moving on.
All right, so former Tennessee-Chattanooga offensive line coach Chris Malone suing the school for First Amendment retaliation, or under the guise of retaliation under the First Amendment for some insidious comments that he made about Stacy Abrams. I'm not going to repeat the comments. You can go look it up. We talked about it in a past show. It was pretty fucked up.
Unfortunately, this is the world we're living in again.
And I don't see how... Like, now racists are suing for getting fired for saying racist shit. All right, cool. He said...
just being an asshole.
Yeah. Derrius Guice had so much potential and kind of pissed it away, too. Suspended indefinitely by LSU after sexual assault allegations have come out even further against him. And they're already in the middle of sexual allegations and Title IX lawsuits. So the school is removing all his rushing records, which was a lot. He broke a lot of Leonard Fournette's. I think he owned the school rushing record at one point.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Word to all you young upcoming athletes that are going to college. No means no, and that could cost you a lot. Ask Derrius Guice. Goodbye career.
Yeah, and don't put yourself in the situations where you have to force yourself on a chick to get some ass. You're an athlete. Just find the chicks who already want to fuck you.
No, just means go on.
I'm sorry, like literally, just like you're an athlete. If you're a top flight athlete, women want to fuck you.
Yeah.
You just have to vet the ones who want to get pregnant by you, or they just want to smash you because it's cool and it's like, I'm sorry, it's not that hard.
But then when you do the deed and they change their mind, like, hey, how's this dating thing
that's why
work?
there's
just
there's NDAs.
When you say,
there's things you should factor in.
When they say like, oh, we couple now, and you're like, yeah, and like, oh, sorry, this ain't gonna work. Then it's a lawsuit.
Yeah, the Ohio State situation with Zeke Elliott,
Deshaun Watson.
That's different. He didn't have no red flags in college, and those were massages.
Yeah, but he has money.
Zeke was like a direct, oh, you're breaking up with me? I'm going to tell everybody you raped me.
Yep.
But, like, everybody knows we were a couple when we broke up. What are you talking about?
That's why, like a lot of the allegations these come out now, I always have to ask, like, is the girl getting money? Does what money? What's her Instagram?
Did she hire a publicist?
Does her Instagram consist of 50,000 selfies of her ass? That girl wants money.
That's fair because, yeah, we talk about the other actual victims, but there are also people out here on the hunt.
So
Clout.
You could tell that as a girl sharking for money because if you go on their Instagram and the first 50 pictures of her are all selfies, she's going for money.
To an extent, I would say.
All selfies.
If it's like practically nude and she's the OnlyFans, then she's definitely going.
It's not like
if she has an OnlyFans and she's still trying to sue you. It's like, okay, there's something wrong.
That's
here.
a special type of evil.
And Pete somewhere cringing, saying, "You guys are being toxic," knowing he's thinking the same exact thing.
No cancel culture there, Pete.
Yeah. So the NCAA's it's more clout culture because like people get famous and then want to.
Is it the woke?
No, that's different. Like woke is like there's so many layers. It's like high school. It's just fucking high school where there's so many different layers of shit you don't care about, and then shit that's important, and then that line is constantly blurred. So when you say you don't care about some shit, somebody sees it as an affront that you really don't care about them. And in some cases that's true, but in a lot of cases it's really a miscommunication of people's intent. And some people have really fucked up intent and want there to be a miscommunication, and that's how you get really sick, weird, foul shit happening out here. But that's a whole nother flagpole. I don't need to go up. So, yeah, the NCAA changed overtime scoring rules. You pretty much have to go for 2 after, I think, the second overtime.
Yeah, sometimes those overtimes, like
7 overtime games, Texas A&M, LSU, like that shit don't need to happen. After the second overtime, you have to go for 2. Make the game shorter because it's like this shit's ridiculous. It's more ridiculous than the Floyd Mayweather Jake Paul shit.
I hope Mayweather beats the shit out of him.
That I was like, really? Y'all staged that? He comes out looking like the fucking ape from Planet of the Apes.
Yeah,
like he hasn't shaved in 7 years. Okay.
I mean, I kind of want to see Jake Paul get knocked out, but I'd rather
I want to see like
and stream it. I don't want to pay for it.
I'm definitely not paying for it. I want to see like how Mark got the shit beat out of him in Invincible.
Yeah.
Episode 8 by his dad, Nolan.
I
want to see that ass whooping. He just prolongs an ass whooping for a whole fight. And you're running away and he still catches you to whoop your ass. Like, yeah. So Texas landed Alabama linebacker transfer Ben Davis. Central Michigan quarterback John Keller was shot at an off-campus party. Hopefully he pulls through and everything works out. Ohio State Mark Jacobs reached an agreement over the trademark. So, quote unquote, the was like a trademark that Ohio State was using because they're the Ohio State. And Mark Jacobs is like because of all the shit he does. Yeah. And they came to an agreement on the usage of the trademark. So they're gonna wait till it plays out in the courts, and then somebody gets awarded the trademark. Okay. But until then, they're like, we'll call the dogs off on each other.
Oh damn! Because it's kind of funny watching that. On the is it Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football that they have the introductions and they say their name and they say their college or whatever they came from.
The Ohio State.
Yeah, but then you hear like other people try to do it. It's like no, that doesn't really work as well. Like I thought it was stupid, but it's
the
really
Penn
stupid.
State. No, it don't work.
No.
The USC. I mean, well, which USC? There's only one USC.
The University of New Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too long.
Yeah. There's one with New Mexico. They were beefing with another college.
New Mexico State?
Nah, but they're like based off the acronym. It was a funny acronym, and some of the schools like, you guys aren't even good enough for football to use that. That's our shit. Leave it alone.
University of Northern Minnesota,
Northern
Montana.
I'll find the story later, but that shit was hilarious to me. Like, damn, New Mexico
University of Santa Monica.
Potentially, they've had NFL players come through there a lot. So also 10 USC song girls spoke out about the horrific toxic culture of being a song girl and how like the former coach was a horrible evil bitch and did a bunch of disgraceful things to them. One thing I will say is I don't understand why anybody wants to be a cheerleader personally. I don't see it as a sport. They're athletes, but it's not like you can't tell me where the Super Bowl of cheerleading is. Like, I don't care who gets mad. Like, if a but it's based off a scoring system that has been notoriously flawed and is known to screw people over. Like, how am I judging this as a legitimate sport? You're a legitimate athlete because you're working out and training and doing athletic stunts. I'll give you that. But it's more like, I put cheerleading in the same category as professional wrestling.
It's like saying trapeze are a sport.
It's like, it's hardcore entertainment because your body's going to be fucked up. Cheerleading and wrestling, like...
Wrestling is definitely a sport.
The outcome's predetermined, though. So, therefore, it
loses
all
you're talking about
legitimacy.
WWE. That's not wrestling.
Yeah.
That's stage fighting.
That's a whole nother can of worms.
That's entertainment, not sports.
But they're wrestling.
I mean, it's entertainment.
There's winners and losers in championships. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I look at, like, cheerleading as cartoonish. Because the childish shit that happens in high school cheerleading, where, like, the football team's trash, but the high school cheerleaders think they're hot shit. I'm like, how? That never worked at my high school. You just get laughed at. Like, you're a cheerleader? Nobody came to see you. They came to see the football team. But you guys suck. Yeah, but we, like, actually produce money for the school. And we're dope. And we have the potential to be dope. Y'all don't go to competitions. Y'all just out there cheering to be seen.
You watched Bring It before.
My mom loves Bring It On.
All right, because
I've seen it too many fucking times.
I've seen this movie before.
My older sister was a cheerleader in high school. I was like, it's not a sport. You're an athlete, but you're not the athlete. Like, you can't come out here and fucking run the ball or get in a tackling drill with me. Not because my sister could. My sister was tackling motherfuckers in the 5th grade. She could have played football. She chose to be a cheerleader.
Your sister's still being a cheerleader, but your reference to cheerleading is still the movie Bring It.
It's like, yeah.
You quoted that movie.
Yeah. I feel like you're just not good enough to be a dancer. I respect dancers. They're elite athletes. Cheerleaders, not so much. But that doesn't excuse the toxic culture that exists in cheerleading. Like in Texas, all those fucking moms killing girls on the cheerleading teams. Like, there's whole Lifetime movies about
it's like
real
beauty
stories.
pageants.
Yeah, like beauty pageants and cheerleading make my skin crawl. Because it feels like on some level exploitation, and then on other levels it's like it's a dark world, that a cesspool that I don't know about, and it's some unscrupulous shit going on. Like, if you don't have adults who are on the up and up in youth sports, and I'll throw in cheerleading as that, like football, if you have, like, you know, just some very shitty character people dealing with your children in sports at an early age, it'll create some trauma. It'll create some really dark shit. And it's sad to see that when at USC, one of the most prestigious universities in the world, you're out here doing draconian bullshit like this to young women who are representing the university because they want to be a part of something, and you're using them as like flesh puppets. It's kind of gross.
Yeah,
it's fucked up.
I think,
like, however I feel about cheerleading as a sport, legitimate or not, because there are obviously cheerleaders who are way more athletic than me, but I'll bust your ass in the game of basketball. But that's irrelevant.
Yeah,
like but I'm saying,
you're gonna
like,
challenge a little like 4'11" cheerleader to a game of basketball, dude.
Nah, but she would challenge me to touch my toes, and I would be like, "That's fucked up." I can touch my toe, but I'd be like, "Touche." There's respect here.
She'd be able to touch her toe above her head.
Yeah, she's like, yeah. Like, my little sister was a cheerleader. She had like athleticism and potential, but I was like, "You're wasting your time." Because the cheerleading coach at the time was a huge asshole and didn't like my little sister at all. Like, my little sister didn't do nothing. She was just like she was an outsider. So she was like, she just did everything she could. And when my sister tried out a bunch of times, and when they finally let her on the team, she was like, you know what? I don't even want it. Fuck you guys. I'm going to go run track. I was so proud, but I was like, damn, you vengeful.
You're vengeful.
Like, you did all that,
sister.
and then you killed it, and
sister.
then they said, yeah, we love you. We want you to do it. And you're like, nah, fuck y'all. I was like, ooh, I'm so proud. Like, I went to the mall, got her ice cream, went to go see a movie that day.
Nice.
Shit, we saw 2 movies. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I ain't got nothing to do today.
We'll sneak into the second one.
Yeah, that's what we did. That's definitely what we did.
All right.
But yeah.
Well, let's move on. I think we're at a little take or tangent here.
Indeed. But yeah, we're gonna table this cheerleading thing for another time.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We're way over time. New Ravens tackle takes shot at former Steelers wide receivers.
So Alejandro Villanueva was pretty much like, the receivers for the Ravens were going to be run blocking more in this offense, so they're not going to have time to be on TikTok and catching passes. Pretty much, he took a shot at Juju Smith-Schuster and all the Steelers receivers for being on TikTok, even though he was out there celebrating with them. And he actually was a receiver in college. He's like 6'10" and went to I think he was in the Army. He was 6'10" and then played for Army. He was a 6'10" wide receiver. Just think about that.
Yeah.
Shit's crazy.
He's just a giant.
And now he's been a left tackle for a while now.
And he's a Green Beret or something like that?
He's highly decorated.
Yeah.
He could kill the shit out of you.
This guy is Pat Tillman playing in the NFL.
Different kind of Pat. Nah, Pat Tillman is different. It's different.
But mentality, though, definitely. Just like, I mean, I think it's kind of turning into a little more entertainment and talk. It's kind of like the WWE of NFL right now, especially between that rivalry with the
Steelers and Ravens are a petty ass rivalry.
Oh, that's petty. I mean,
that's nothing nice to say about each other.
I mean, the only thing I can really say more of a rivalry is probably Packers and Bears, to be honest. But
especially with that IG post that I put up this week.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. I loved it.
I didn't think that shit was gonna go 200 plus.
But I mean, I think it's just he left the Steelers with bad blood apparently, and he's a little pissed off.
Well, he was a left tackle there. He's gonna play right tackle for the Ravens, and honestly, I think he's the perfect veteran signing for them. They got Ben Cleveland, the guard out of Georgia. So the Ravens know how to draft offensive linemen for sure.
Yeah.
And they know how to develop guys. So I think, and he's freakishly athletic for a 6'10" man. So playing right tackle, he was never known as like an elite pass blocker. But in this offense, with Lamar Jackson, they're gonna use him. He might even catch some touchdown passes.
Well, I think the Ravens are at that point beyond developing players. They want to win. They want to win now.
Yeah.
And when they got to pay Lamar too, I think it's going to shake things up there.
And a clutch free agent because you took him off the Steelers.
Yeah.
And they didn't draft the left tackle.
Yeah.
They got Najee Harris, but
Well, moving on. So
no HBCU players were drafted in this draft. Deion Sanders, of course, had an IG rant about it. Social media rant.
Well, I mean, it just sucks this year because of COVID. It just affected. I mean, and nevertheless, just being able to see, I guess you could say maybe a shorthand that these HBCUs are having right now, getting players in there because historically they do have really good Hall of Fame players coming and being developed in the NFL. But was there not supposed to be a combine that happened, or did that happen?
They did some kind of a workout, but it wasn't really broadcasted. I just think when it comes down to it, like Akil Glass threw 7 touchdown passes in the game. It's with the pandemic, it's easier to just dismiss a lot of these guys. So, it's unfair that some of them didn't get drafted because a lot of them were actually, quality prospects. But they're going to have to just get their own. The HBCUs are going to have to put together their own combines, their own showcases. And then, I guess we'll participate in the Senior Bowl. That's the only way they're going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to get. The NFLPA Bowl game was canceled this year. So,
shame.
All those other lower tier bowl games, all-star games that would get you access, you don't have that now. Okay, so then Juwan James, right tackle for the Denver Broncos, tore his Achilles away from the facility. He was working out on his own. Technically, that causes the Broncos to not be on the hook for $10 million that he's owed for his salary. And the Broncos facility was open. Yeah, he's screwed. I feel bad for him.
Yeah, it just really sucks. I mean, like, he at this point of the season, going to these voluntary workouts and you're getting paid to work out, but then you're working out and you hurt yourself, not basically on the clock, I guess you could say.
Done for the year.
Yeah, done for the year, and $10 million just gone. It's just.
And he opted out last year.
Oh, that sucks.
So he's pretty much not getting paid for 2 years in a row.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Oh, well.
I feel bad for the guy.
You live and you learn.
Alrighty then.
So, I'm going to butcher this one. Kwity Paye.
That's how you say his name.
21st overall pick in the first round to sign deal. Is that a touchdown or turnover?
He was the first. It's a touchdown. First rounder to sign his deal. The Colts usually get their picks done pretty quickly as of late. They got a good thing going up there. So it's Kwity Paye, and he told his mom, "You can retire now." So that's dope.
So
that's a touchdown.
That's a touchdown. I mean, hey, get it done. Get these young bucks to pay some money, get paid, and quit. I mean, I hate it when the new draft picks have to wait out. I mean, it's kind of like when Sam Bradford got paid as a rookie and then had
$50 million guaranteed.
Yeah,
shit.
I had a friend that was actually a St. Louis Rams fan. And he told me that he wanted his superpower to be his ability of Sam Bradford being able to get paid. So
yeah, I want that superpower.
Right. Well, the Hall of Fame mental health game.
Yeah, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, they formed a behavioral health program for players and their families. So they're launching it. And let's see. So the Associated Press, Barry Wilner provided the details. It's going to offer a concierge call center and crisis line to match treatment and counseling services with an accredited network of providers nationwide. The providers are trained to handle issues such as post-career transition, identity, addiction, performance anxiety, mindfulness, and the culture of sports. Such services will complement existing programs and assistance available to players through the NFL and the NFLPA. And the program has the backing of Hall of Famers like Ronnie Lott, Brian Dawkins, Steve Atwater, Andre Reed, and Tim Brown, as well as the president of the Hall of Fame, David Baker. And May is actually Mental Health Awareness Month, so this is kind of a dope thing to do.
I mean, I think it's definitely a touchdown. I mean, especially as many problems over the last decade with NFL having in their head injuries and CTE and having players going through PST, basically, of taking a consistent head trauma. I mean, they've done so much over the years, less contact practices, which is, you could have your conversations about left or right, but at the end of the day, it's these guys, these larger than life people are consistently hitting their heads, and the mental health of them, and then nevertheless, just the anguish of being in the pro sports, you are going to be targeted. Some people, some superstars, if you're out in public, they're going to try to start fights with you and everything. And then some people just can't handle that much. Say for instance, Marshawn Lynch just hated talking to the press. It's just all these things could have different kind of factors on people's mental health. And then Brandon Marshall is probably one of the first athletes to really bring mental health awareness out and stating that he has mental health problems. I mean, if he wasn't available to actually express these things and talk to them in a healthy way, how the lashings of some of these things can be quite bad, if not violent, which some of these athletes can do and go through. So I think it's a touchdown to anything they can do to just better the situation, regardless of how it's executed.
Yeah, I think that's just dope. And I hope they can get as many people, involved as possible, because, we talked to mental health advocates, earlier this year on the show, especially after what happened with Vincent Jackson, and it's, sad. A lot of people suffer silent battles. So,
yeah.
With that, if you're suffering through something and you haven't talked to anybody, consider getting, some mental health talk to, a therapist. If nothing else, just start talking to a therapist. Talk to somebody to get your issues out of your head, and see if that's a stepping stone somewhere you can start.
Talk is a very healthy thing. If you have something bottled up, even somebody you don't even know, hotline, it does. It can help just saying something out loud to somebody that's listening. So,
yeah. And lastly, the Washington football team announced they are going to have full capacity for their stadium for the 2021 season.
I hope we all do.
Yeah, pretty much where it's going. I mean, if they manage to pull off a trade and get Aaron Rodgers, then that will do ridiculous things for that franchise. So, yeah, on to the tangents. Unnecessary toughness is part of the show where we just go on a quick little, tangent, whatever, rant, whatever. You want to go first?
Well, I'm just going to say with everything going on live with everybody in LA that we are now officially in the yellow code right now. So, great things. Just where we were a year ago. I mean, I'm coming up on, not still a few months away, but a year. We were talking about bringing me on board onto this podcast and everything. So just remember where we've all been. My wife got her second vaccination today, and she's already feeling more confident about being out. So I encourage all to get vaccinated. I know, get some weird looks over here, but you guys, is
you can get it or don't get it.
You can get it, you don't get it. But
you just have to
do
live with whatever decision you make.
Yes, you do. But I do encourage it all. But we're almost there, and hopefully this pandemic is almost over, and we could all just be normal assholes again instead of just yelling at people about their masks.
Yeah, we'll never be the same again.
No, we're not. That's all I got.
Shit's crazy. Yeah, I don't know if it's because I'm coming up on the 2-year anniversary of me graduating college and closing a lot of dark, interesting chapters in my life, and now that I'm in this new phase and I put in my 2-week notice, I put in my 3-week notice at my job. As I transition to another one, and I think about, am I making the right decision? What am I missing out on? What am I gaining? And I'm kind of just what? Some chapters of your life are just over. And this is one of them. There's 5 people in my job quitting. So shit's hitting the fan. People are seeing the writing on the wall, and they're getting out. Because you know what? Sometimes life forces you to make a decision. And this was the decision I felt like I needed to make because I felt like I was stuck and I wasn't growing. So I'm interested in how the rest of this year is going to look. Sometimes when you walk out on faith and you make a decision, you just hope with all the intention that, things will go your way. And that's pretty much what I'm approaching it with. In years past, I would have just second-guessed myself and been miserable. But now, since I just made the decision, cut the cord, I've just been feeling a whole lot of anxiety just leaving me. So that's nice. And then I went to my chiropractor this week, and he snapped my neck and shit back into place. I would suggest everybody who hasn't gotten a chiropractor, go. You'll believe how much tension you have stored up inside of your neck, your shoulders, and your back. You go to sleep with that shit and you wake up with it and you wonder why you're hurting. So check out a chiropractor. I found a good one in Lawndale. It's only $60. After the first visit, it's $40. So yeah, that is touchdowns and tangents. Shout out to Pete and the fam. Shout out to X Squad affiliates. Shout out to Izzy. Power through finals. You're gonna be a graduate. You earned that shit. Be proud. This is probably going to be the most stressful 2 weeks of your life, but it's okay. You're going to make it, and you're going to be fine. You're going to be totally fine. Everything's going to be fine. Shout out to you, Eric, for coming out. Shit's crazy.
Shout out to you and your Crocs.
Thank you. And shout out to you and your puppy, because I'm pretty sure... How old is he now?
He's coming up on 11 months.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
He is... That's a big one.
We're gonna bake him a cake for his birthday.
Dope.
Well, my wife is, so.
Are you going to do something for your wife on Mother's Day, since technically she's a dog mom?
I'm working on Mother's Day. I'm going to be working with all the other moms. Be nice to people on Sunday, guys.
Yeah, because I'm working on Mother's Day, too. But I already got my mom.
You can't piss off mom. That's the thing. Mom's got to have a good day. Piss off everybody else. Don't piss off mom. Get her food right.
That's, yeah.
Get her
something
right.
she likes, and worst case scenario, some liquor. Because she gave birth to you, and that's enough to drink.
Yeah, exactly.
So, salute to everybody out there. We love y'all, and we're out.
Love you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, y'all.